Welcome back to Square Off, our political insiders stepping in, and we will pick up the Katie Hobbs controversy with Christine Jones, former Republican candidate for governor, and Roy Herrera, a Democratic election attorney who served as a staffer on Capitol Hill. We just heard moments ago from Tanya Adams, who was fired by Katie Hobbs when she was minority leader of the Senate. Secretary of State Hobbs is now the frontrunner in the Democratic primary for governor. You've both read Hobbs' statements over the last 2 weeks on the Tanya Adams verdict. I'll start with you, Roy. Has she been able to explain her role in Adams' firing, especially to people of color, in a way that puts this behind her?
No, I don't think so. And I think, just listening to Ms. Adams' interview, which I think was pretty powerful, I think indicates that this issue is not gone away and it's not going away anytime soon. When I read Secretary Hobbs' statement, she basically, didn't believe, or at least stated, that discrimination didn't even occur in the firing of Ms. Adams. Well, we have two federal grand juries that unanimously disagreed with that, and there's really been no explanation on why they were wrong. And as a result, I think this controversy is going to continue until there is an explanation about what occurred and why this discrimination happened, and what will be done in the future to make sure that it does never happen again.
Christine Jones, you've run for governor. It's still 9 months till the primary, a year till the election. How much staying power do you think this has?
Well, can I say, first of all, I did hear some of your interview with Tanya Adams, and no matter where you stand on this issue or on the political spectrum, it was super powerful to hear her talk about this from her perspective. It was the first time I'd heard her speak on it. And I think I also read that she represented herself in both trials. Don't hold me to that, but I think that's true. And that's super impressive, right? Most lawyers don't make good lawyers for themselves. So hats off and a tip of the hat to her on that. From a candidate's perspective, this is really tricky when even your own party is saying, you know what, Secretary Hobbs, it might be time for you to step back and reassess how you look at the world and how you look at hiring and firing decisions and how you look at compensation. And it would be very difficult for her now to come back and say, not my fault, I wasn't there, because she has been part of the Arizona state legislature and government in Arizona for a long time. I mean, you might start to refer to it as a career for her. So I don't see how she really pulls out from under the responsibility. And if even a guy like Roy Herrera is saying, I don't think so, I think her days could be numbered.
Well, what about that, Roy? Greg Stanton, Congressman Greg Stanton of Phoenix, kind of broke with other Democrats in a statement last week. Other Democrats pointing fingers at the Republicans who run the Senate. Stanton said, well, here's what he said. Secretary Hobbs acknowledged her role in firing Ms. Adams at trial and now must do the right thing and accept personal responsibility, as well as fully explain to her constituents how she will better uphold the values that are important to all Arizonans. There are two other Democrats in the primary, former state lawmaker Aaron Lieberman and business consultant Marco Lopez. Is this Greg Stanton sending a signal he might challenge Hobbs in the primary?
I don't know. I mean, certainly we're in a place right now where, and anyone looking at the race objectively understands that she is vulnerable right now, certainly either in a primary or in a general election. So I think, the question is whether someone else in the primary, one of our existing challengers or somebody new, perhaps like Congressman Stanton, could take advantage of this opportunity. I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything specific about Congressman Stanton running, but I did find his statement, as well as the statements of the rest of the delegation, very interesting in that they all encouraged Secretary Hobbs to explain her role in this. And again, as I mentioned earlier, I'm not sure her latest statement really does that. And in fact, it seems to sort of try to put this way in the past as opposed to explaining what occurred.
Let's move on. Topic 2, Congressman Paul Gosar, the Flagstaff Republican, was slapped with a rare censure by the House of Representatives for posting a violent video on social media. It was a Photoshop cartoon showing Gosar killing Democratic Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and attacking President Joe Biden. Christine, Republicans rallied around Paul Gosar. How does that make you feel as a Republican?
Well, honestly, having passed judgment on thousands upon thousands of things like this in determining whether to leave content up or take it down from the internet, I can say this is not per se illegal. It's not something that we would take down as a matter of course, but it is in really bad taste. And I even tweeted myself that I thought he should take it down, because if you demonstrate yourself in a cartoon murdering one of your colleagues and potentially going after the president, even if it's a cartoon, it's bad. Now, I understand why Republicans are standing behind him. Not this Republican, but some Republicans, because honestly, a lot of people have done a lot worse. Other people have been censured for less, in the end, I really think after you're censured, don't go retweet the thing on which your censure was based. Tell your colleague, hey, you know what? I didn't mean it. I'm sorry. You have to make it right. And he hasn't done that. And I would call on him as a Republican to do that now. He's got to make this right.
Paul Gosar did retweet the offensive video not long after he was censured. Yeah. Roy, does this guy belong in Congress?
No, I don't think he does. Retweeting or promoting any kind of violence towards a colleague of yours in Congress, I think, is disqualifying. You shouldn't be there if that's what you're going to do. I'm someone who believes that, we should have two functioning political parties. I believe in bipartisanship. But what's essential to that, of course, is respecting the other side. And when you've got a congressman, again, sort of promoting someone on the other side getting hurt, I think that's a terrible thing and a terrible example. And what's disturbing to me is we saw even yesterday that the Minority Leader McCarthy indicated that if he became speaker, he would just reinstate Mr. Gosar into the committees that he's got or that he's been stripped from. So again, that just shows that this hasn't been addressed. And it's really unfortunate because this kind of rhetoric should not occur in the halls of Congress.
On to topic 3, Senator Kyrsten Sinema, the bipartisan infrastructure bill she championed through the Senate was signed into law by President Biden. Biden praised Sinema at the signing. Here at home, though, a dark money group reportedly bankrolled by the pharmaceutical industry has been running ads nonstop, also praising Sinema. Christine, will that infrastructure law now redeem Sinema in the eyes of Democrats?
Well, I have no dog in that fight, obviously, but and hats off to her as well for having a backbone and sticking to her convictions on it. But I think her bigger fight now is coming on the Build Back Better plan. This was just step one. And having gotten that through, she's going to have to put all of her Democrat credentials on the line to say, are we going to get the president's legislation and principal policy issue through? And that, to me, is the redemptive part on the part of Democrats. For her to tolerate being supported by basically a political action committee that's funded by big pharma after she's had a career of saying, I won't take corporate money, is really putting her in a wedge. And I would be shocked if the Democrats didn't pounce on her for that.
Roy, Sinema has her victory. She's banked her victory on the bipartisan infrastructure bill. Does this House bill that's now in the Senate really matter to her?
Well, I hope it does, because I think the understanding was always that the infrastructure bill and Build Back Better would be sort of linked together. Even the president indicated that. But now that the House has passed this and it's going to the Senate, it's going to be very interesting to see how the bill is going to be changed or pared back. I do think, though, that the core of the bill is still going to get through the Senate in some way. And I think that's something that Senator Sinema is going to support. It's just the question is what gets changed, what gets taken out when it gets over to the Senate. Because ultimately what the Democrats have to run on next year are these two bills. And so they have to get done from the Democratic perspective.
Christine Jones and Roy Herrera, thank you so much for joining us.